This is Randy Rosetta with HubCityPreps.com with this week's edition of the video version of Tiger Tracks podcast, sponsored by Southwest Bank. I'm with the Page brothers, Hudson on the left, Greyson on the right. I mentioned to you guys when I sat down, you can see Mom and Dad's genes a little bit in both of you, but Hudson, you got a little bit more height. Greyson got blessed with a little bit more of the positive thickness. When I say thickness, I don't want to get in trouble with anybody out there. I used to be a little bit thicker myself. So you guys have both made an impact. Greyson, you've been around for 3 years as a starter on the offensive line. Hudson, you've kind of emerged this year as a guy at defensive end, coming off a big game against Midland High. Frenship eked out a 48-47 win against Midland High last week to start district play. Let's start with talking about the game. First of all, defensively, Hudson, what did you guys have to do to dig down, find something late in that game to get them off the field without them getting a chance to tie or take the lead and win the game?
We really just had to play one play at a time and just do our best to get them off the field and get our offense on the field. I
talked to Hunter Hicks afterwards, because I think if I had this right, I have Coach double check me, but I think you guys had one negative play the entire night, and that was the bad pitch that they had. But then you stacked up 3 in a row, and those were legit negative plays. It wasn't them messing up, it was you guys making big plays. What was the energy like in the huddle in that last set of plays against them?
We were very excited just to get our offense on the field and really just in the game and get it over with.
Greyson, once that offense was out there most of the night, you guys had a few hiccups. Coach just mentioned this talking to him. The difference between the two teams is the hiccups you guys had, the punt. I call the punt a hiccup. Most games are going to have a punt or two. You guys, it's a little rare, but and then holding through the pick. You guys didn't let that derail you. You kept coming back, kept doing. How typical or how kind of symbolic is that about this offense's personality, that you're not going to let one bad play kind of affect you like that?
You know, our offense, but also our team is just really good at coming back after something bad happens. They're always staying in the game. We never really feel out of it because we know how quick we can score and how quick we can get their offense off the field. So we always knew we were in the game, and when little things like that happen, we trust the other side of the ball to get it done.
Because I think if my math was correct, those were the only 2 times you guys didn't put points on the board.
Yes, sir.
You kept grinding, kept moving the ball. A little bit different look with Chase, kind of some different wrinkles with Chase. And I talked to him and Coach afterwards. Because Midland High knows you so well, they knew they've had some success slowing you guys down in the past. How important was that different wrinkle with Chase back there running the ball?
You know, Holden having the year he's having, everyone knows who he is and what he can do. So putting Chase in the backfield, not many people have seen that. And whenever you got 2 quarterbacks that can throw like Holden and run like Chase, I mean, what can you do? I mean, Chase made some phenomenal plays for us in the backfield and also threw for a touchdown. I mean, as a D coordinator, that's hard to prepare for.
Hudson, when you know a guy can do all 3 things like that, how tough is that? You had to face a pretty good offense yourself, but if you see a guy like Chase back there that's doing all those, how tough would that be?
It'd be pretty tough to defend. You got to do a lot more than what you're just taught to do.
You got to keep your eyes kind of moving around, which you guys did well against their offense. They had some rushing yards. They got you for a couple of big plays, but what did you guys do well against them that kind of got you to the finish line?
We really just clogged up the dive all game and really just did the best we could to defend number 5.
You may face an option team down the road in the playoffs, but are you kind of glad to have that kind of offense in the rearview mirror?
Yes, sir.
Because that goes back to when me and your dad were playing. It's basic, it's easy to prepare for, then you got to go do it. There's a little bit of difference between prep and execution at times.
Yes, sir.
So I've mentioned you guys' dad a few times. Josh Page, former Texas Tech football player. You guys grew up, I'm guessing, with football a lot in the background. Playing with each other, what's that been like? A lot of brothers don't get a chance to play at this level, at the 6A level, especially with a couple years difference. But Greyson, what's it been like to have a kid brother out there and watching him really start to shine?
I mean, yeah, it's a blessing. I know any older brother wants to play with their younger brother, and we were lucky enough to get that opportunity. It's so much fun getting to score and then looking at the Jumbotron and seeing him making a tackle. I mean, it's extremely fun, and I know for our parents, it's even more fun.
And Hudson, you've been on varsity for a little bit, so do you catch yourself watching him since you guys are opposite sides of the ball? You may be a little bit different than most guys, I mean, including sports writers. We're used to watching the ball, following the ball. Are you watching the offensive line and watching what Greyson's doing?
I do a little bit. It's kind of hard to keep your eyes on the offensive line whenever you got receivers and quarterbacks making good plays.
Yeah, there's a lot of eye candy out there with you guys, especially. For both of you, how has it helped you kind of grow and evolve as quickly as you have to have a big brother playing that spot on offense? What has he done to kind of help prepare you?
Really just a lot of experience from him and giving me tips and all the good stuff for me to be the best I can.
Now, I would guess you're not usually locking down on the defensive end and what you guys do. Maybe you do a little bit. But what has he done to kind of help you when you guys just work on basic technique stuff at home?
I mean, as long as I can remember, every day when we get home, our dad's always trying to get us out into the backyard and do drills. And all our life, we've always gone up against each other. And I think being two big guys constantly wrestling with each other and playing football against each other has been great to just learn off each other. And yeah.
So I'm a big brother, so I'm not going to ask the question about who usually wins those one-on-one drills because I know it's got to be the big brother for now, at least. Now, I grew up in Kansas where there's a lot of snow. Mm-hmm. One thing my brother and I used to love is when there was a lot of snow on the ground, we'd take a football, we actually would shovel off driveways on either side and start. We had a name for it. I can't say what the name is because it's not politically appropriate anymore. But we used to work on tackling. It was kind of our version of the Oklahoma drill where you bounce it off the driveway, somebody grabs it, and you have to try to get past the other guy. What in the Page household, what was that like growing up when you guys were, maybe more when mom and dad weren't watching, you could get away with a little bit more?
Yeah, when we were a little bit smaller, we could go on the trampoline and we'd play games of the football where you throw it in the air, try to catch it, and you got to get to the other side of the trampoline. And our parents didn't really like that because we didn't have a net on our trampoline at all times. But, even with our buddies, we go out there, we used to paint a field in our backyard for our birthdays and play flag football and stuff like that. So it got to a point where we were getting a little bit bigger and stronger, and my dad had to shut it down because he was afraid of us getting hurt, but we were always competing.
Hudson, not that I'm not challenging your toughness, but how much did that help your toughness to have a big brother who I'm guessing was bigger than you most of the way until you got to a certain age?
It definitely helped a lot with the toughness area. It definitely makes you more tough.
Watching him as he got bigger, got into high school and started lifting weights and started getting thicker, how much did that kind of motivate you and push you to think, I want to put on that uniform and do what he does?
Definitely a lot. Seeing him lift that heavy weight just makes me want to get in the weight room and get bigger.
Now, do you lift as much as him?
No.
I meant amount, not time in the gym, but
yeah.
Is he still got the edge there?
Yes, sir.
What's his edge? What's he do a little bit better that you look at and you think, man, I wish I could do that as well as my younger brother?
I mean, he's quick, he's big, which is, I know I'm jealous of, but yeah, his quickness is something that I always look up to. I mean, he's a big body that moves fast and he does what he needs to.
Now, how long have you been on varsity, Hudson?
It's first year.
So this is it. This is the journey together. Mm-hmm. Greyson, have you started them? We're getting, I don't want to tug at heartstrings too much here, but we're getting kind of to the stretch run now where your senior season's starting to kind of reach that stage. It kind of hit you that you're getting to play with him, but that's not going to last a whole lot longer.
Yeah, we're on the back end of our season, and hopefully, we can keep competing to get more games together. But, him and all of our senior class, it's crazy to think about next year we won't be doing this together anymore. So we just got to live it while we're doing it.
Well, I should have asked this earlier. What's Hudson done to get better? How has he impressed you with how quickly he's kind of evolved this year?
I would say over the summer his strength definitely improved. I know coming into the year, I was worried about, I know how big those guys are up front. I was worried about maybe him getting pushed around, but over the summer and even into the year, he's put on a lot of weight and strength, and that's helped him. 11 tackles last game. You got to be pretty strong to do that.
You have to say something nice about your big brother. Watching him as a leader, especially these last couple of years, how proud of you of what he's done as a player and as a leader?
Yeah, I'm pretty proud. It's pretty fun to watch your older brother do a lot of good things.
We just got lights turned off on us. That's all right, because we're wrapping up here on the Tiger Tracks podcast. This is Randy Rosetta. That's been the Tiger Tracks podcast, sponsored by Southwest Bank.